For years, no one could challenge the dominance of one particular car that defined the mid-size SUV segment. But then in 2019, Kia, a brand unheard of really in India, came along with a car called the Seltos, and it did precisely that. It shook things up and made everybody take a rethink at the mid-size segment and what it could be. It meant more features, more space, more comfort, and more luxury all around. And now everybody is following that trend. The latest in this segment, of course, has been the Tata Sierra, which we just saw very, very recently. But hot on its heels is this, the brand new second generation Kia Seltos. And oh boy, is it in store to redefine things once again. Now, ordinarily, we'd kick things off with the looks of the car from the front. And yes, there's a lot to talk about there, but we have to start over here at the side because boy, has this car grown. First of all, it's built on a brand new platform called the K3, and it has grown almost 100 millimeters in length. It's almost 4.5 meters in length, and the wheelbase has gone up by about 80 for a lot more space inside the cabin. And it really shows just by looking at it. It's also wider by I think about 30 and yes, that should translate to more interior space. And what it really does is push this mid-size SUV segment a little bit further towards the executive SUVs with the likes of the Safari, Harrier and XUV 700. This is a much bigger car. It's not only bigger in size, it's bigger in look too. It's far more square and upright in design. Yes, there are some callbacks like this kink up which link it to the previous Seltos, and there are plenty of other design details that I'll get into in just a moment. But overall, just looking at it, it has grown. It does look and feel like a bigger car, and it will have much greater road presence out on the street. Well, isn't this quite a busy piece of design? Well, it really maximizes the entire front of the car. First of all, you can see that it's no longer that flowing design of the previous Seltos. It is very square, and the frontal elements go edge to edge. The grille takes up pretty much the entire front of the car, comes all the way out and melds right here into these square headlamps. Now, the headlamps are the DRLs. It's all in this huge unit. And of course, there's the new Kia signature, which are these vertical DRLs that come all the way at the edge of the front of the bonnet. Down here, you'll find the fog lamps, and down there, you'll find the intakes. But it just dominates the entire face. There's not a piece of trim that isn't a grille or a lamp up here, and it really gives it a bold look. This, well, should be the tiger nose grille, but it really goes from edge to edge in this car. Up top, you'll see a bit of sculpture, a little rising front section, a bulge in the bonnet, and altogether, things look a lot more square and butch than the previous Kia Seltos. Now here you'll find a set of 18-inch wheels with this nice, interesting looking squared off design for the hubcap. That's quite cool and unconventional. I think that's something Kia has borrowed from its larger SUVs and EVs. Interesting here is now that the cladding is gloss black, and yeah, that does impart a more modern look to it, but there is a nice ridge up here that gives it that squared off SUV look. There is something of a theme that's forming here. Incidentally, this is the X-Line styling pack, which is now a styling pack, not a variant on its own. It's on the top spec GTX Plus, I believe, is the highest equipment trim. But X-Line is a styling pack which is all black with these green seats on the inside, and that you can avail on a couple of different variants with the new Seltos. Back here, things are oddly familiar, but that's only because we've been seeing this sort of styling language emerge with other Kias. It's the upturned U effect of the tail lamps, vertical bit here, a horizontal bit in the center, and it's actually all very well contained in these very thin LED elements. If you look closely, there's a bit of sculpture in here in the tailgate, and yep, Seltos and X-Line badges down there, and it's a little bit more upright than the tailgate of the previous Seltos. Down here, the bumper is actually gloss black, which is quite an interesting choice. And if you lift this tailgate, which is not powered, you see a 447 litre boot. Now this is a very high loading lift. You're going to have to really struggle to get your stuff up and over this. But under here, you'll find almost a full-size spare tire and a toolkit down there. The boot size looks sizable, but I expected something a little bit larger for a car that's grown this much. The interior is a very pleasing place to be, and I'm happy to say they've used the extra size of this car to good effect, because you really feel like you're in something considerably larger, at least here from the driver's seat. In terms of design, there's loads borrowed from the likes of the Syros and the Clavis in terms of the design, the look, the colors, and the way they've laid out the dashboard and the AC vents. You get the twin 12.3-inch screens as well as this little touch panel in the center for the AC controls, much like you do in the Syros. And yes, over here, it's the latest Kia infotainment system that's really slick and really smooth to operate. I'm happy to also report loads of physical controls. Yes, that's a touch panel for the AC, but you get dual zone climate control with temperature control and fan control and various other shortcut buttons in hard buttons down here on the dash. A big wireless charger up there and handy physical controls down here. Loads of space, cup holders, and a reasonably sized cubby hole down there. I like this green that you get with the X line, and I really love these seats. They're nice and comfy, and they've got these hollow head restraints with a fabric net to hold you in place. It's soft, it's nice, and it feels very upmarket, and that's exactly what you want to feel in a segment like this. The steering wheel too is Kia's newest design, and again it looks and feels like it's been made with high quality materials, and though they aren't very glossy or flashy, these are well made hard buttons for a lot of functions. Interestingly, drive and traction modes are in the steering wheel. How cool is that? While the car comes with level 2 ADAS with 21 assists right out of the box, Kia says top variants will later be upgraded to level 2 Plus, which will add another 7 features to the list. Now really, it's the back seat here where the increase in size has really paid off because there is a great amount of space back here. What they've also done is made the seat a lot larger and more comfortable. It feels better padded. It feels wider and better suited for 3 passengers, and it's just generally very comfortable. The seat squab is actually very high, and it gives you good thigh support. I wasn't expecting so much of it. In fact, it's incredibly well padded, kind of like a sofa. There is a bit of recline that you can adjust with the seat back in case you want that. There's the all important sunshades, and though this sunroof hasn't been opened all the way back, yeah, it comes way over here to over my head, and that's not eating too much into the headroom, which is something I'm happy to report. As you can see, there's a good amount of headroom over here and a good amount of knee room over here. This is set a little further back than I would like, so yeah, I think there's a comfortable amount. Rear AC vents down there, no temperature or fan control unfortunately, and the USB ports are located in the backs of these seats, which is quite an interesting choice. Unfortunately, that seat is not powered and therefore there is no boss mode. You can't adjust it from back here. But as for this seat itself, it's very comfortable and it's very well padded. So I think a much better option for the chauffeur driven than the previous Seltos was. Two features that would have enhanced the rear seat experience even more would have been rear seat ventilation and a sliding function, both of which are available on the smaller Kia Seltos. Up front here, a premium touch you'll notice is gas struts to hold the bonnet open. Now that's something you would usually only find in executive and luxury cars. But the thing is, under the hood, for now at least, the engines remain exactly the same. That's a 1.5 naturally aspirated petrol, a 1.5 turbocharged petrol, and a 1.5 liter diesel. The power outputs are roughly the same too. The wide array of gearboxes returns as well. The 1.5 petrol gets a manual or a CVT, the diesel gets a manual or a torque converter auto, while the 1.5 turbo petrol still gets an IMT clutchless manual alongside its DCT auto. However, this powertrain lineup won't stay the same for long, as there will likely be a hybridized version of the 1.5 naturally aspirated petrol further down the line. So, just like the first Seltos did in 2019, this new Seltos is coming around in 2026 to shake things up in the mid-size SUV segment. Now, this is arguably the honeypot, the sort of focal center of the Indian car industry right now. Everybody wants to be here and everybody wants to succeed. Kia set the ball rolling the last time, and can they do it again with the new Seltos? I sure hope so, because it's only going to get more exciting from here. But this was just a first look. The new Seltos will be launched on Jan 2nd next year, And before that, we're going to be driving the car just next week. So I hope you're subscribed to Autocar India. Don't miss that video. For now, tell us down in the comments what you think of the all-new Kia Seltos.